to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for watching us locally in Bethel Park on Comcast 7. That's seen only in Bethel Park. We're also on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and you can see us from Nemacolin to Cranberry Wexford. Thanks for watching us tonight. We appreciate it. We got Jack on the camera again. He's running a streak now. I think he's about 3 weeks in a row. So, you know, he's doing a great job. Look at how nice he made me look tonight.
You look a little dark.
Thanks. I've been pumping some iron here.
Not as nice as Jody made Jim look.
Well, that's always good. We'll talk about that later because I'm hoping to get one update, which I have not got.
I heard it's a new segment, Sweeties with Jimmy.
Well, that's been a segment, but it's not very popular except with one guy. Even the Sweeties don't know because you never know what he's going to throw out there. This is Pittsburgh Sportsline. It's a sports talk show on TV, contrary to the 5 people I talked to from Sunday that thought we're still on the radio, which we've never been on.
Yeah,
the
we
radio.
got faces made for radio.
Well, speak for yourself. I'm okay with that. If you're talking about yourself, I'm good. We just hit a new high on our Facebook page, 4,875 likes. Woo! Thank you very much. Appreciate the last few new likes. I got about 10 this week, so appreciate that. You know we'll like your pages. We're getting a lot of likes that people are asking me to just like their page, and I sent a couple messages out, and it seems to work. I say, maybe you missed that invite I sent to you about a year ago. Could you please like us? And it works 99% of the time. So that's a good thing. We're going to start our first segment of What's on Your Mind with Zach Brenner. What's on your mind, Zach?
Well, good evening, folks. It's an honor and a privilege to come live to you this Tuesday evening from glorious Bethel Park. I want to point out a couple things that I've been hammering home the last couple weeks. There was no genius at Heinz Field on Sunday. There was no Cardinals victory either on Sunday, also predicted by me, Levine. I think Chip might have, I think Chip took Arizona. I can't remember. I have to go back and watch the tape. But I have maintained all along, folks, that unlike in the baseball situation, football is a different scenario. And in this scenario, all you have to do now is beat Cincinnati twice. Yes, and we win the AFC North, and we're automatically in the playoffs, and anything can happen when you're in the dance. Yes, so with that being said, shout out to the kicker from the University of Pittsburgh. Blew it, did not blow it, and the Panthers are now ranked for the first time in a long time. And I couldn't be more happier. And that's what's on my mind tonight, folks. No genius, no Cardinals victory.
Can't beat that because I'm all about Pittsburgh. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We're going to go to Smoking Jim Frazier. What's on your mind, Smoking Jim?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
coming at you.
You oh!
The first fumble of the year.
I didn't look it in.
Here, I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one.
This is double or nothing. Yes.
Hey,
I even had a white cornerback try to bat it down.
He must have been.
I don't care what you call him.
He must have been coached by Bruce Arians.
Oh man. Hey, I'll be real quick, man.
Why?
What's on my mind is high school football, and I have the Pittsburgh Sportsline High School Player of the Week. But first, I want to go through the honorable mentions. One honorable mention come out of West Mifflin. Guy's name is Howie Reed, and his aunt is one of the most beautiful girls I've ever seen. Used to be a cheerleader at Duquesne High School.
Time out. But do you have a photo with her?
But Howie Reed is ran 10 carries, 172 yards, and 2 touchdowns for West Mifflin. My second honorable mention goes to the guy that I said is the best quarterback in Western Pennsylvania history. He's only a sophomore, Phil Jakovic from Pine Ridgeland. 321 yards, 23 of 29, had rushing TD and 2 passing TDs. My third and final honorable mention player goes to Pitt recruit. They call him in the hood when he played for the Garfield Gators as P. Diddy. Paris Ford, only a junior for Seton LaSalle High School. being recruited by everybody as a defensive back. His favorite player of all time is Jack Tatum. So his daddy's raising him right in the hood. And he scored on an 89-yard kickoff return, a 56-yard interception, and 2 receiving touchdowns. And Al Levine, the talking machine, chipped in on me. No pun intended. But me and Al Levine, the talking machine, this summer at Couple Stadium, we broadcast a youth football all-star game. And during that game, several people from Beaver, not Beaver Falls, but Beaver, said that watch out for a running back by the name of Darius Wise. Well, Beaver moved the junior star to quarterback, and he's still running. He had 16 carries for over 300 yards. He's over 1,000 yards for the season and close to 1,000 yards in passing. So the Pittsburgh Sports Line Player of the Week is Darius Wise out of Beaver High School. And that's what's on my mind.
I thought you
They
almost
told us
forgot
about
his
it.
name.
Remember they told us about
I know
it?
your attention span's getting worse as you get older. I thought you actually forgot what you said his last name
I
was.
kind of did. I was thinking about this picture. Jody.
Smoking Jim. No more pictures before the show. No more. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan. And you're the young man that you spotlighted, Phil Jerkovic.
Yeah.
He went on a recruiting visit to Notre Dame this past weekend. Was at the Notre Dame USC game.
There you
For
go.
your information.
I seen it as
Now,
a
if I may be so bold as to ask, I've got 2 items I'd like to hit with what's on my mind. And the first one involves Jim Harbaugh. Now, if anybody has watched the show over the years, they know that I am not a very big Jim Harbaugh fan, okay? But I want you to follow my line of thinking here. I have a very dear, close friend of mine who has a cousin who serves in the United States military. She is a colonel in the United States Army.
I got a lot of cousins.
1 week ago, Sunday, she was involved in a helicopter accident. There were 10 people on the copter, 5 died, 5 were injured. She was among one of the injured, and she had a broken back and a spinal cord injury in the accident. And she is laid up in Germany, and they're working very hard at trying to make her back into a whole person. Now, what does this have to do with Jim Harbaugh?
Yes.
I will lead you there. She happens to be an alum of the University of Michigan. After the Michigan game on Saturday, and if I need to refresh anybody's memory, Michigan State won on a completely unbelievable play, a fumbled punt, snap, to lose as time was running out. So all the players for the Michigan team were coming into the locker room, and they were crying. And Jim Harbaugh got up, and he mentioned this. My friends, and her name escapes me. I know her nickname is Buff, and he mentioned Buff's name. And he said that she was a University of Michigan alum, and they told her about what she was going through. And he says, and if you guys are going to cry about losing a football game, look what she has to do. And he used her as inspiration to motivate his team to get over the crushing loss. Blew me away. I didn't expect it out of Jim Harbaugh. I think that's something that was worth mentioning. Yeah. But now the next thing I want to do is, you know how I love to lambaste the NFL. Well, they're on the skewer again this week. You know, the NFL, in its infinite wisdom, they seem to find a way to let murderers, drunks, drug addicts, women beaters, child beaters, animal molesters, everything into the NFL. And then the NFL is going to go ahead and fine people that are trying to pay tribute to loved ones who have lost the battle to cancer. And the 2 people that bring me to mind are Cameron Hayward, whose father, Craig Ironhead Hayward, is an NFL former player, died of cancer. So Ironhead put on his eye black tape under his eyes his father's name. He did that last week or 2 weeks ago, and he got fined $5,000-$6,000, and he did it again this week. And he's now probably going to get fined $11,000. And the NFL is fining him for something because it doesn't follow the uniform code. Well, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the NFL.
Yes, sir.
And they're making everything pink all over the place to honor breast cancer. Cameron Hayward's just trying to honor his father, who was a person that lost his life to cancer, and I think it's an honorable. I think it's an honorable tribute to his father, and I don't see how the NFL can see that as a finable offense. They should actually donate more money to cancer research. And then you got DeAngelo Williams. DeAngelo Williams lobbied the NFL to wear pink for the rest of the NFL season. And because he lost his mother to breast cancer, other members of his family were. So the NFL, in its infinite wisdom, would find these players to honor family members that passed to cancer, yet they'll have a whole month and to do a tribute to breast cancer. They're such hypocrites. Why doesn't the NFL just, unpucker its butt cheeks and, let something like this happen, because it's not taking anything away from the NFL. I think it's an honorable tribute, and the NFL's foolish for finding these people.
I'm glad to see you wearing a Steelers shirt.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of cancer, Cam Hayward was nothing but class when he played in the Pals game, the Police Pals game. Did interviews with him, just a class act, very low-key guy, except when he's on the field after the opposing team's quarterback.
That's fine.
So to do that and honor your dad, I'm all for it. And I even said when I wrote on Pittsburgh Sportsline, the NFL should donate that money to cancer research and all fines. They should do that. The other thing they should do is, we have a thing with Stay Joey Strong here with Joey Fabus. They should have a gold out or wear some gold. What would be better than that to accent DIPG, which is the horrific brain cancer that these children are diagnosed with? It's a death sentence. They're diagnosed before 9 years old and they're dead by the time they're 9, sometimes a little older, but only about 9 months. So that's horrific, and you're spending all this money on all this gear. This is what bothers me. They're spending all this money on uniforms, towels. That could be sent, it's probably millions of dollars. Because if sponsors are giving it to you, it costs them to make it. Then you're going to find guys who've had horrific cancer issues. Their mom has died, their dad has died. I mean, that's terrible. It's
hypocrisy.
It is at its worst. And it's $1 billion company that they're okay to have this monopoly by the government. They're like a 501c3. They're not a non-profitable company, non-profit.
If I may, if Dave Cable had stipulated at Bethel Park TV that said that I couldn't have any war face paint on my face and anything on the side of it I couldn't appear on the show, that's the rules. Like, that's the way it goes. Rules, are made to be broken, and I appreciate Ironhead stepping up for his dad. And as far as the pink thing goes, they got a full month of it. You should be 12 months of it all the way around, instead of just focusing on one specific month. I've said that for everything across the board all along. But like I said, Tim Tebow got crazy, started putting biblical things under his eyes, 3:16, 4:12, whatever. It's just put the black under your eyes and go out there and win the game, and then you could put Ironhead.
How about make it illegal to wear anything that you tape under your eye? Make them use the true black. All right, use the black, and you stop that. But if you're going to have things where you do it for others, like towels and all that stuff, you should do it for all cancer. One cancer because you're playing towards women, no offense there. You shouldn't just segregate one type of person in breast cancer, although it is horrific. I've had family and friends who've died from it, so that's understandable, but it's a whole month of NFL games. We could debate this all day long. Yeah, rules are rules, but they created something that's not a normal thing during football. They made it that way, and why?
Good point.
So we'll leave it at that.
Why? No, they're working on becoming $1 trillion industry. That's why.
Right, and they're a non-profit, and they're okay with having this monopoly.
So is UPMC.
Yeah, but there's a difference. You're talking about a sport. UPMC, I think they might do things to help people live. I don't know how a sport's helping us to live, except that I enjoy it, and I mean our show's on it. It gives us a great conversation, but it's a little different than when you have 501c3s that are with the health field and everything else. They took advantage of it in Oakland because now it's UPMC. But that's a whole nother debate for another day. But they were created by the government, and they're supposed to go by certain rules. And sure, they made them, but I would question some of them, like we're saying. How can you do that to somebody? God forbid if you lost somebody and you wanted to represent that, Zach, what would you do? Would you be willing to take those fines? I'll bet. So, all right, some promos here. Olive Oil's Pizzeria. 412-831-1900. Smoking Jim just noticed the sausage on there. We've been getting that a couple weeks now. I guess he got one of the smaller cuts. Now he got a big cut. So thanks a lot for being our sponsor tonight. We have a zombie walk that's coming up on the 24th in Bethel Park here. It's only $10 to be a zombie. Smoking Jim, one of your favorite sweeties, looked so horrific yesterday. My co-host, Bethany Montecalvo, was dressed as a zombie. She had makeup. I don't know if I can show, I don't think it'll show up on TV, but she was taking photos. They were doing photos with her throughout the day with the almanac and another lady, I think Susie. So she had a good day doing it. I don't know if I can pull this up here. We got modern technology. Let me see here. You won't even recognize who she is here.
And she's a makeup artist as well, right?
Well, that's part of why I wanted to show it here. Let's see if we can pull this up. Because this helps promote the Bethel Park Scholarship Fund. Jack, I'm going to test all your skills. Try to get it away from me and just pull that up if you can. Okay. And she's on Healthier, Happier You with our show that we do once a month.
My favorite half-hour
Look
show.
at that, Smoking Jim. That's your sweetie there.
Wow, I would never recognize her.
Bethany, great job. Wish I could have seen you in person, but we didn't. Here's Smoking Jim. Look at that.
Wow.
All right, I got off on a tangent on what's on my mind, so I'm only going to ask one question. I'm watching the Steeler game, and they're playing pretty well. And I heard once Coach Tomlin told us that with Big Ben in there, he'd go for the 2-point as many times as he can. Well, I noticed Landry Jones, who's in the game. Now, I usually don't yell at my TV, but I go, you got to be kidding me. Why aren't you going for a kick and 1 point? Because that would have given you a 3-point lead in the game. And that's all I have to say. Go Steelers. I love the game. It was great. We'll talk Steeler talk in a little bit. All right, now we do some segments here. Smoking Jim, luckily I'm not throwing a pen. One on the ground's enough.
Yeah.
Let's hear some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. My one callus the pen must have.
I never heard so many excuses. Devin Shea come in from the. Hold it. Here's what happened. In the control room, Devin Shea was saying it must have been the sun, but no, it's the lights.
No, you know what the thing is? He doesn't have his eye black on, and the glare of the lights. Yeah.
You know what? He is a little shiny.
Shined off his cheeks.
Only worked
He is a little shiny. Look
only
at him.
work 3 days a year, so I'm not. This is the off season
Hold it.
for me,
Can I
brother.
interrupt? When are these 3 days? Because I'm still
He'll
looking
let
at
you
it.
know.
April.
He'll let you know.
Okay, because I was still
3
looking
days in
for it.
April, brother.
He'll let you know.
Is that to pay your taxes to Uncle Sam?
He'll let you know after the fact.
You just did. I want to see you working is what I asked.
Hey, we always text you from my job.
I didn't know it's a job. Sweetie, so Jimmy, look at who I'm with. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But hey, yeah, this NFL draft week is the only time I work. But
Oh,
anywho,
okay. Thanks for narrowing it down.
anywho, what's on my mind? I mean, fiction and fact from Smoking
Yeah.
Jim's Almanac goes all the way back. I tell you what, I'm looking buff here. All the way back to
That's Jack's
this
camera work.
Saturday. Thanks, Jack. You're doing a great job. And I tell you what, man, honored again to co-MC the Pittsburgh City League Hall of Fame. Oh yeah, thank you, sir.
I missed
And little ZC be on the news. I appreciate that. And I tell you what, this thing is huge. Franco Harris came out to give me a hand, and he did a great job. And here's a guy that's one of the greatest players in NFL history. There's a statue of him out by the airport. Could have been anywhere in the world, but he volunteered his time to come out. And I tell you what, man, it was a lot of great honorees, but just to focus on the couple is Pittsburgh Sportsline Hall of Fame. Liz Costa was there to help me out as well.
What a break.
I couldn't have done it without you, Liz. And a friend of the show, Jody Velasquez, award-winning author of Slick Move Guy.
No talking machine.
She was.
No
she was
little
there.
Z. We weren't on the official
She was
roster
there.
this year.
You guys are always welcome, man.
I had a previous engagement.
Some of my best friends are white, but I tell you what, if anybody in Chip will appreciate this, is
I hope we can get
and
through
Al
this
Levine
segment.
would love this. But one of the honorees was, and he has his number retired by the Washington Redskins, none other than Larry Brown, number 43. I know you remember Larry. Here's a guy that I didn't know about. I heard about him because my uncle is a Dallas Cowboy fan. My brother, who's a millionaire, he named his oldest son Dallas, and he lives in Dallas. Tony Licio from Westinghouse High School. Played 10 years for the Dallas Cowboys, tough guy. And last but not least, this guy coaches up at IUP. He left his game, he took a shower, put on his suit, drove, and thank goodness the banquet was 4 hours long. It went 2 hours. It was supposed to end at 10, didn't end until 11:30. Luckily, he got there about 11:15. 15 minutes before the end of the program, Lightning Rod Rutherford came through and was honored. And also, the best speech, there's guys that went way over, man. They're over there like cutting. The greatest speech I ever heard in any Hall of Fame was Mark Hogan. Mark Hogan got up, he says, he asked for Coach Webb, and Coach Webb wasn't in the room, and Mark Hogan said, thank you, and sat down. My man, you're the best, Mark Hogan. All right. Al Levine, you should have been there to pull something out of him. You're the only one that can pull something out of the coach.
You told me he doesn't talk. He's a Pittsburgh Sportsline guest. He loved the show. And we find out stories from Tennessee and the pros that we never heard of.
Oh, my goodness. You'll read about them Wednesday. But you may have never heard them, but you'll read about it on Wednesday.
Is that?
If I may,
Go ahead.
real quick. We were fortunate enough, like I said, me, Al Levine, a whole bunch of us, to make it to last year's.
My daughter Casey.
Casey too, at the Blue Line.
Devin Shea.
The Blue Line Grill.
You guys will be at next year's.
But
We got the invite.
To make a long story short, Al Levine,
All right.
this year seemed to, we missed a year to go, if I might say so myself. From what I saw on the news and by the people in the building and Jimmy
Don't
Sweeney.
let the looks deceive you. That's all I
It
can
was
say.
great. It was a great event.
Hopefully
It was.
Chip got some great trivia.
What do you mean, hope? He does every
No,
week.
it's
He's got a streak
More
going.
so than usual to overcome the fiction and fact.
Next year, Pittsburgh Sports Line's taking over. It'll be in the 500. It'll be downtown at the downtown hotel. And we're going to take
We're
over.
going downtown. Maybe we could see Mrs. Brown.
No
All right.
Rutherford, no Franco.
Hey, where's Coach Webb? Okay, thank you.
With no further ado, let's hear some trivia time from Chip Hayner. Chip, what do you got?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
That's a hard act to
that's a
follow.
hard
I
act
know
to
you can
follow,
do it.
and I've got some trivia this week that's kind of all over the place because,
What a surprise with the show.
baseball season's starting to wrap up a little bit, and I have a little bit of baseball trivia. And just, real quickly with my baseball trivia, the youngest player to hit a home run in the playoffs in Major League Baseball was Andrew Jones with the Atlanta Braves in 1996. He was 19 years old.
Really?
You were following.
And I bring this one up because, it's going to kind of dovetail out into the comment I'm going to make afterwards. But in 1986, October 19th, the Boston Red Sox took a 2-0 lead in the World Series with a 9-3 rout of the New York Mets. Now, why do I bring this up? If anybody remembers the 1986 World Series, and I remember it well, Bill Buckner booted a ball in the 6th game, and the Mets won in 7 games, thus continuing the streak of futilities by the Boston Red Sox. Why do I bring that up? Because the Mets are going to be playing the Cubs shortly here in Wrigley, and they are going to continue the Cubs' record of futility from 1908 since they've won a World Series. So I'm afraid they're not going to make it this year. So I just wanted to kind of keep that one rolling. Next, I got some football trivia. We'll go to pro football. The longest losing streak in NFL history was 29 games. It ended on October 14th, 1945. The Chicago Cardinals end the longest losing streak with a 16-7 victory over the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
Okay, now
Two teams
I
in
didn't know
Chicago.
that. Never knew that. Thank you.
Nothing's getting by us.
nothing gets by Jim. And now, there was a significant accomplishment not this weekend, but last weekend when Pitt beat Virginia. They recorded the 700th win in the university's football history.
Didn't know that.
And the school with the most victories in college football, with 920,
Yeah.
the University of Michigan. So, this Pitt's got a ways to go to keep up with the big boys, but 700 wins is 700 wins. It's an
Go
accomplishment worth
Pitt.
noting.
Go Pitt.
Now,
First place.
this season, if anybody's been paying any attention, the Pittsburgh Penguins have stumbled out of the blocks to start the season. And a certain best player in the world, highest paid, most overrated player that skates for the Penguins, hasn't scored a point yet this year. Well, that got me thinking about, let's see what some milestones are in other famous hockey players' careers. And I was thinking about a number, 500. 500 seems like a pretty round number. And some players that have scored 500 goals in their career. 2006, October 14, Matt Sundin scored his 500th goal. Who else do we have here? Just give me a minute. Let me... Oh, yes. Okay.
We lost that trivia.
No, yeah, we lost that one. But, okay, Maurice the Rocket Richard, one of the most famous names. And the only reason I bring this up is because Sid Crosby,
before
after
your time.
10 years in the season, and he's into his 11th season, has only managed to score 300 goals. So I don't think that he's ever going to see the 500-goal plateau in his career. And here's the ironic thing, is of the 300 goals he scored in his career, there was an 18-month span where he scored 83 of those 300 goals. So, as far as being one of the top goal scorers in NHL history, he's got a long way to go. Jim was touching on some of the local high school football scene. And,
Yes, sir.
Jim and I have talked quite a bit because high school football is one of the biggest events around Western Pennsylvania every fall.
Lisa Monroe.
And I want to mention some athletes of some note here. First, there's the 500-something club. Bentworth quarterback Josh Hughes completed 21 of 29 passes for 501 yards in a 42-14 victory Friday against Mapletown. Hughes is only the second quarterback in Whippeal history to throw for 500 yards in a game. Riverside's Jason Dombach threw for 551 earlier this season. Miles Sanders, a young man who's a running back for Woodland Hills, has run for more than 2 miles in his career, but it's the next couple of hundred yards that will put him in an elite class. Sanders, a senior at Woodland Hills, has 3,736 yards, career rushing yards. That means he only needs 264 in the next few games to reach 4,000. Okay? Running for 4,000 yards isn't the big milestone it was once in the Whippeal. Since 1990, 56 players have reached 4,000 yards.
Wow.
Before 1990, only 7 ran for 4,000 yards. The first one being a young man named
Jonathan
LeVar Arrington
Penn Hills.
from North Hills. The most recent class of Quad A runners to reach 4,000 were Mount Lebanon's Luke Hagee, Central Catholic's Damian Jones Moore in 2011. The others who reached the milestone in between were Penn Trafford's Matt Garvish, Connellsville's Marcus Furman, Eugene Jarvis, and none less than Justin King of the University of Gateway.
Yes, great job, Jim. Best trivia ever.
Well, but Gavrish is the class Quad A's all-time leading rusher with thick 6,512 yards. And then I would be remiss if I didn't bring up one other accomplishment of note. George Curry, The winningest coach in Pennsylvania history got his 450th career victory a week ago Friday night. He got his 400th win at Berwick when the Bulldogs defeated Williamsport 57-26. Curry, 70 years old, has a career record of 451, 101, and 5.
That's Jim Kelly's old high school coach.
Thanks, Smoking Jim.
He's 70 now? Wow.
You know, nobody gets younger except you.
No, but he set the bar up there pretty high.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chip. I think your
Good job,
trivia drowned out whatever happened before you. So, but I got to bring up Bob Prince here in the Hidden Vigorish. I got an update on the Penguins. Power play, goal by Crosby.
The first one this year. Power play goal and goal by Crosby. Both in the same end.
It's a double play using a last little bit of baseball. We got a double play on that one. Thanks, Devin Shea. I knew you were paying attention to the cameras and teaching Rose how to run the studio while you're gone.
Hi, Rose.
And he's sticking pins in his Chip Hayner doll for Dog and Sid.
Well, you know that. That'll happen. We don't mind opinions, especially when they're based with facts. When you're 0 for the year, that happens. But you're getting closer to your next goal. And it was tonight.
Yes,
Hidden
it was.
Vigorish.
Hidden
Big
Vigorish.
vigorous. You learned it again for like 3 years.
It's a shame that don't work for the Cubs, though, huh?
No, not yet.
Or the Sid Bream curse.
There is no Sid Bream
Didn't work for
curse.
the Buccos
That isn't a curse.
because they're out.
Haters are still welcome. Oh, Zach, what's going on Z Time?
Well, folks, I don't have any props tonight to show off and on being in the playoffs and being out of the playoffs. But a huge congratulations right now to the New York Metropolitans. I hope that they take out the Cubbies because that's just how I roll. Once the team beats my team or the team in the city that I live and I call home my whole life, I immediately root for the other team to destroy them. So hopefully the Cubs get taken apart tonight. It looks like Kansas City is doing its job right now against Toronto.
12-2.
Yeah.
Missed a little nugget here. Tyler Boyd, the Clareton product from the city of Prayer, who's going to be a millionaire real soon in the distant future, is now the all-time receptions leader at the University of Pittsburgh.
That's huge.
Also,
Hopefully he uses that brain and not just the hands.
well,
Let's
hey,
hope.
Let's hope.
Hopefully he learned his lesson this summer.
Also, a little nugget here, folks. Jaromir Jagr, one of Smoking Jim Frazier's favorite hockey players, is playing tonight for the Florida Panthers here back home in Pittsburgh. He already has 7 points on the year, considering that Sid Crosby had none until he made the power play goal. So,
4 goals, 3 assists.
looks like we should have signed Yags there. He still has a little bit of gas left in the tank. He said he plans on playing until almost 50 years old.
Wow.
I'm not disputing it.
Well, with the shape that he's in, on and off the ice, God bless him. He's a hard worker. That's one
Well,
thing.
I will say, well, I've never been much of a Yager fan, but I will say this. If it wasn't for the 3 years that he went and played in Russia, if he'd have stayed in the NHL, he may have ended up as the number 2 point scorer in the
without a
NHL
doubt.
behind Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky's number 1, Gordie Howe's number 2. He may have been the 3rd player to score more than 2,000 points in his
Nobody
career.
ever catch the greatest, Wayne Gretzky.
Who?
Smoking Jim doesn't know much about hockey,
Who?
but he does know the front runners.
Ask him, what's Wayne Gretzky's number?
The greatest.
What's his number? What was his jersey
He had
number?
blonde hair.
What was his jersey number?
And a
I
hot
couldn't
wife.
tell you.
And a
What
hot
if I
wife,
told
right?
you it was Mario the
And his
Music
daughter's
Upside
even
Down?
hotter.
He still couldn't tell you.
Hey, Zach, don't test him, please.
Hey,
He's the greatest.
Please.
he's still working on Derek
Yeah,
Jeter.
yeah, I was just going to say, the man forgot who Derek Jeter was in an article that,
You guys are feeding in to his notoriety, which he takes all notoriety is great PR. That's the end of the Smoking Jim session right now, okay? Points are well taken, Zach and Chip. And Smoking Jim, that that doesn't work too well.
Louis, he wasn't done with Z-Time.
No, I was done. I think it was a perfect time to just segue into hockey since, we were
No, I'm going to go to On Location. We
What?
had On Location at the Meadows.
Yes, sir. Yes,
They were just fan base is growing stronger all the time. They had us go over to the paddock area and introduce guys that don't get a lot of TV time because they're at the county fairs throughout Pennsylvania. We ended up interviewing a guy named Sam Beagle, who actually is the District 7 chairman. which is pretty cool, and that's the eastern part. So he was telling us about that. He's also a president of the PA Harness Horsemen Association. So he's a pretty powerful guy who never really gets TV time. Then he has a farm, Smoking Jim. I thought you'd say, I want to go to your farm. And it's
No, he doesn't.
Ginger Hill Farm. So there's always horses promoted with the Ginger name in there, Smoking Jim. I thought you'd be on that. But no, Smoking Jim loves it out there with the horses.
Yes, sir. Yes,
He's
sir.
getting more and more knowledgeable, only it's like one little point at a time. So I understand that. And he's developing a good following there. The few ladies that say hi to him, you know, they notice him out there. But we'll be back there on Halloween. They have early morning racing, 11:25 in the morning. And they have different promotions they're doing out there on Halloween for kids. And it's a Breeders' Cup Day, which is a huge day in the thoroughbred world. So they'll be doing something on simulcasting, which Smoking Jim's just learning about. He learned about that from Don Campiti. I don't know how he did that, but he learned what simulcasting is. You can bet on other horses all across the country and even Australia.
What day is that on? What day is that? A
Halloween's a Saturday,
Okay.
Saturday morning, 11:25. They start racing with Roger Houston. As he says, I'll copy it. I'm not as good. Be there. Exactly. You got it. And that's the on location. We'll be at the Park House again. Check it out, 7:30 to 8:30. Lining up some guests there. We'll be back. Had a great show the last time. Some of the City League Hall of Fame ladies were there who helped organize it, including your cousin Bit. So that was always good. So that ties in the last couple shows we had from Campiti's and the Park House. Highlighted that, and I thought maybe we'd have a segment. Zach, I got to bump you on this one. I thought we could have a segment on the City League Hall of Fame since my dad was honored last year with being in it.
Yes,
There's
sir.
so many great athletes and people out of the City League that I at least want to hear a couple more things, except, you know, I heard about Mark, about what happened there. You know, what school was most dominant with getting those awards? Do you know that?
The most dominant school was Westinghouse High School, and I heard about the great backfield that Westinghouse had. You know, Westinghouse won 22 out of 25 City League championships there in the 50s and 60s. And they talk about maybe the greatest backfield in City League history, which Orrin Richburg, Vassar, Henderson was a quarterback, and the great Wesley Garnett. And the Wesley Garnett was a junior when Orrin Richburg was a senior. Orrin Richburg won the state championship in the 100 and 200, and Wesley Garnett came in second in the 100 and 200, so they were so fast. Wesley Garnett, at that time, early 60s, black ball players were not allowed to play at the SEC or Southern schools, so the brother went to Utah State.
Wow.
And then he got drafted by the San Diego Chargers, played 3 years, and he came. But I tell you what, man, it just did my heart so good to see Larry Brown there. And another honoree was supposed to be the oldest living gold medalist in the United States. And he was a gold medalist in 1948. His name is Herb Douglas out of the University of Pittsburgh. He's 92 years old in California, but he wasn't feeling up to the plane ride. So Franco Harris is a very good friend of Herb Douglas, and Franco came to receive the honor, to receive the medal
So that's why Franco
award
was
with
there.
him. Yeah, Franco was there for that.
I'm glad I asked one question.
Yeah, there you go. You're
you
the
know,
best
We're
interviewer
losing
on
all
the
the
planet.
viewers.
Just refresh my memory. Larry Brown, I remember his running
Number
back.
43,
Yeah,
yeah.
for the Redskins. That was actually he played in the Super Bowl when the Dolphins beat the Redskins to complete their
Yeah.
perfect season.
Remember, they knocked his helmet off,
Mm-hmm.
and he held the all-time rushing record for the Washington Redskins for over 30 years until Clinton Portis broke his record.
Really?
You.
And he was voted one of the top 70 Redskins of all time, and they retired as number 43.
Yeah,
So,
in the early '70s, he was quite the marquee
well,
back.
he never would have made it if it wasn't for the living legend. Vince Lombardi coached the Redskins 1 year before he died, and that was Larry Brown's rookie year. Larry Brown was getting ready to get cut because he was getting to the hole too slow. He was getting off the snap too slow. And the great Vince Lombardi sent him to get his ear checked and found out he was deaf in one ear. Partitioned the
couldn't hear out of
NFL.
the other.
He partitioned the NFL to let him wear a hearing device inside of his helmet, and the rest is history. So it wasn't for Vince Lombardi, Larry Brown never would have made it. So
Interesting story.
yeah.
Smoking Jim, I'm so happy that I could find something out.
you,
about
you,
what's-
you asked the right questions. You're the best
That was-
interviewer.
I remember watching Larry Brown play when I was a child. You know, that's
Yeah,
when
that-
you
that-
mentioned his name.
Me too.
I remember watching him
Yeah,
play.
that was
yeah.
my dad's hero. Yeah.
Thank you, Smoking Jim. All right, let's go to a little hockey, Zach. All right, what's going on in the puck world?
Well, obviously, said the kid finally got off the schneid. There was a lot
Obviously, as
lot
our
of
hero
pressure.
Tomlin says.
A lot
obviously.
of pressure on the kid, but I don't think all that pressure is warranted. A lot of the great ones have started out slow, so to speak. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. I would much, like I said, have him coming on towards the end of the season, anyways. But there's a lot of firepower over at Console Energy Center. I won't make I won't downplay it, but to say the least. As long as there's no outages, they should win games. But I really want to highlight the real reason right now, aside from the couple of goal support that he's getting, is when you see number 29, Marc-Andre Fleury, playing at the top of his game back there, they're almost unbeatable when he's on his A game. And as long as they give him at least a goal or two, we're going to be in every game, just like when number 7 plays at QB. So I look for the Penguins to continue to make a rise. They're calling most pickers are picking the Capitals to have a resurgence this year and dominate the Metropolitan.
Well, and one of the number of problems that the Penguins seem to be having now is and I don't know if this is a coaching problem, if this is a player problem, but it doesn't seem like they have any cohesiveness on the power play. And it seems that both Sid and Gino both want to play on the half wall, and neither of them are attacking the net. And it seems that both of them at this point are more interested in passing the puck than shooting the puck. And, they were 0 for 17 going into tonight's game. In the power play for the season, they were one of 2 teams in the NHL that didn't have a power play goal. I'm glad to see that they got the power play goal early this game. But the power play with all the...
Hey, go ahead, caller. Handsome Jim RJ, you're on there. He's on speakerphone. Just put him down there by the mic.
Oh, we're having some difficulties here. Handsome Jim RJ, what's going on?
Hey, I wanted to call in and say hi, and hopefully see you guys on Saturday at Gladiators of the Cage.
I'll be there.
I don't know if I can make it. I have a prior commitment that I'm tied up a little bit. I might be late if I can make it.
Smoking Jim will be there, though?
Yes,
Smoking
sir.
Jim will be there. I assume
Represent.
Zach will be there.
Assumption right.
Yay!
What's it look like? Since you're Steel Nation Magazine's expert.
It looks good. I wasn't calling for that. I was actually calling for a question for Smoking Jim, actually.
Well, you know what, caller? Just ask him right now.
Okay. Hey, Smoking Jim, put on your Steelers GM hat real quick.
All right,
Here's
Handsome
my
Jim.
question. Obviously, right now...
What'd you say? We didn't get that first word.
I said the Steelers right now have 2 of the best wide receivers out there with Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant.
Yes, sir.
They both come up for a contract in 2 years. How do you handle that? Do you give Brown the deal next year, and then the following year give one to Bryant? Or when Bryant's due, give him a franchise tag? What would you do?
Well, since you're asking my opinion, what I would do right after the Steelers win the Super Bowl this year or lose in the playoffs this year, immediately after, the very next day, I would trade Martavius Bryant for anything I get. When you flunk 4 drug tests, I have no confidence that you'll pass the next drug test, and I get rid of a guy a little bit too early and get rid of him a little bit too late. I think he's the next Josh Gordon.
Wow.
You weren't expecting that, caller.
I should be. I should have been, but I wasn't.
Hey, and I would say as another caveat, let's see if Big Ben can come back and hit Brown with a few passes, because I think that will improve his attitude.
Yeah, that's been a point of contention with
No,
me.
he put it on himself. He only put it on himself. Come on.
Yeah.
If I
I
might,
agree.
hey, Handsome Jim, if I might, Why don't you give us a little bit of a synopsis of what's going to happen this weekend at Gladiators of the Cage?
I asked him. He refused.
Some big words.
No, I didn't refuse. I had a question first. No, I actually.
You feel better now with MMA? Can you talk?
I think it's going to be a good card. From what I hear, there's 11 fights now. I think there's, I'm not sure exactly, but 4 or 5 pro fights and the rest amateurs. The headliner, obviously, is Mark Cherico versus Nate Landwehr, which...
Hold it. That's Cherico's last fight. Cherico's last fight. You got to go out and see it.
That's
What
the
do you
rumor.
mean? He's retired.
He said it.
That's the rumor.
He said it. You mean
No,
people aren't
that's
honest?
the last one. I think he's ready to hang him up, and everything I've heard recently, he said that the fight camps have been really hard on him. And he's battled through some injuries the last couple camps, and he's not getting any younger. And I heard that he told his wife that by the time he was 30, if he didn't get to the UFC, he was going to quit and focus on his family. So you can't hold the man back from doing something like that.
There you go.
Thanks, Jim. We're having a little difficulty with speakers and how I hold your phone. I can take a picture now. I just can't hold it where the speaker's at to the speaker that we have. But I got that solved. You have to see when you watch our show in a couple days. You have to check it out.
Yeah, that and what else? I mean, there's a lot of good fights going on.
Name one other amateur fight that you might like there. You always have something. You pull out, one of these special fighters that you always amaze me.
I like, which is Jonathan Kaufman is making his return to Gladiators. John Kaufman has been training more recently with the Uniontown Fight Club, and you obviously know how big those guys are down there.
They're big.
So I think that you're going to see a different Jonathan Kaufman than you have before. I know he's getting a lot of good work in with a lot of the guys down there.
Well, you know what? You might as well shout out. You might as well give a shout out to Bill Bosley, who runs that Uniontown gym. He's a fan of our show, Pittsburgh Sportsline. He said someday when he's in the area, he's going to come and be on our show like Jim R.J. was.
Good, you should have him. He's an interesting guy, that's for sure.
Definitely. Well, you always pick out something good. Anything else you want to say here?
If like you said, come to the show if you can't get to the show. GOTCMMA.com is the website for Gladiators, and they'll be streaming it live.
I can watch it on my cell phone. All
You
right.
can watch it on any, and that's one of the things they're stressing now, that you can watch it on any device, TV, computer, tablet, cell phone, whatever you want. They actually pay a little extra money for that, so that's
And it's free for
one of the
us,
things
right?
Gladiator does.
It's all free.
Exactly.
Smoking Jim will have to learn how to do that, so when he's coming out there, he can just put it on and he actually won't miss any fights.
I'll be early.
Actually, I had some gyms on the phone. It was just reported that Pinnacle Fighting Championships 12 is now going to be held at the same place as Gladiators of the Cage. Any word on that?
Good question.
Did you hear that?
Well, it was reported that may occur. I don't know if it's definite yet.
I like how you hate to pass rumors on, my friend. That's why
Right,
Steel
so
Nation Magazine, MMA expert Jim R.J. is the best. 4,875 likes, so you don't have to wait to watch the show.
Yeah, I would wait on that one, Zach. I don't know for sure if we're going to be there or not. I've heard a few things that it may not take place there, but they'll obviously have it somewhere. I don't know if they're having an issue with getting the Isoplex or not, but Pinnacle has put on other events at the Green Tree Sports Complex, which those have been pretty good fights and were pretty comparable to the Isoplex. So anyway you slice it, they're going to have the show. It's always the night before Thanksgiving, and it's always what I call the WrestleMania of local MMA.
There you have it. Thanks, Jim R.J. We appreciate your insights and talking about some of the fights. I'll try to make it out there, my friend, if I can. Hold me a seat.
All right, I will, and if not, me and Smoking Jim will be hanging out. That sounds like a good night.
My man.
Well, please will you do me a favor and get a sweetie with Smoking Jim so then I'll feel like I'm right there?
I will. Hey, I'll try to take a picture, but I don't know if the quality will be as good as your 12 megapixels.
Ouch! Hold it. You misspoke. You're getting dyslexic on me. It's 21 megapixels.
21, oh my.
Now you know why you and that. Who was your escort the other day? That Richard or something there?
Yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
that too.
That was good. A good shot. Great PR. And thanks for buying a shirt there. I appreciate it. Go Pittsburgh Sportsline and Steel Nation Magazine reporting in.
All right, thanks, fellas. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, Jim.
It's a nice phone, Zach.
That's a big screen.
Yeah, you. ain't
Where
lying.
were we? All right, we got Penguins out. Did they score again? Anybody know? Or
I'm
no?
not sure.
No updates.
No.
They didn't.
Okay.
Thanks,
For the
Jack.
first vote.
All right, do we need to talk
right,
about
Jack.
Steelers a little bit? Or
Yeah,
why
I don't
not?
see why not.
I'm excited.
I'm
won.
excited once again. Landry Jones, who everybody thought couldn't do anything right, revived the offense. An offense that a certain other quarterback couldn't do anything.
One quarterback.
Sputtered, stuttered, stammered. Well, would have scored 3 points if he'd have stayed in the game. But now what we've got a problem with the Steelers is now we have 2 injured quarterbacks and 1 healthy quarterback. So the healthy quarterback has been named as the starter for this week. So that leads me to ponder. All right, what do we do? You got Ben Roethlisberger, who is notoriously known for coming back too soon from an injury. Do you risk sacrificing the rest of the season by sending Ben into play this Sunday against a couple of the best pass rushers in the NFL, or do you
Kansas
force
City.
Ben to sit? Okay.
Right.
Let Landry Jones start. Then what do we do about Mike Vick, who's got a torn hamstring? Well, if it was up to me, he'd be released, and I would sign a healthy third string quarterback because
point.
if
Good
Vick
point.
doesn't have his legs, he's useless. And I don't think I have to worry about anybody else signing Mike Vick because after his performance on Sunday before he got hurt, he didn't left a lot to be desired. So, I think that. Ben should have another week off. And by the way, Tom Bahali and what's the other one's name? Houston?
Yeah.
These two guys are monsters. Tom Bahali almost killed Ben 3 years ago. If anybody's memory needs to be refreshed.
No, you
And
don't have to.
His mobility is going to be lacking if he does play. I say let
Good
Ben
point.
rest another week, get healthy.
My-
We can use him from down the road.
My only reason for not playing Ben Roethlisberger this week, and it was reported right here on the left side that Ben was going to do back on the October 25th, and everybody ridiculed me and made fun of me. But he could actually play if he was needed. Smoking Jim Frazier, he could play on October 25th. He wants to play against Kansas City. Should he play? No. And now this is the reason why. Calvin Beachum is out for the season now. So now you got your wishes with Villanueva, which the NFL scout didn't bring up for the whole show pretty much.
Did
but
you hear the reports from practice today?
No.
No, Ben had absolutely no mobility at practice today. They
Put him in.
They said he got about a 10% chance to play this weekend. It would be best to leave him off the active roster for his own sake and for the sake of the team's immediate future.
if anybody's seen the decline out in Denver of Peyton Manning, I believe that Ben Roethlisberger could stand on his knees and deliver a better strike and a better ball right now than Peyton Manning's bionic arm. I believe you're witnessing the last of a great quarterback out there in
Here's
Denver.
the best thing about it. There's nobody getting younger. Nobody gets any younger. He's a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. Big Ben, we all want to play. When you think you can do anything and run through the walls, we all did that at a time. Sometimes you grow up and you have to listen to somebody with some reason and not just your buddy that's calling people juice and number 7 and he should go out there. You don't listen to that. Ask a doctor. When you suffer damage, it can weaken you. You do not need a hit on something that's weakened.
Unless it's the playoffs.
NFL scout
Yeah,
here
unless
to my
it's
left,
playoffs.
okay? Do you or do you not think that with Ben running the offense, that this team has a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl this year?
Well, I tell you what, I
they do.
said before the season started, and I took a lot of heat. I said this is the greatest offense in NFL history, in my opinion. So I do agree with that, Chip. I'm all in. And I've also been saying, after I watched this guy play 5 snaps in the first preseason game, I declared that he was the best left tackle since Anthony Munoz. Villanueva is, I tell you what, nobody will get their job back at left tackle. This guy's going to be a perennial All-Pro, and he's going to beat who's ever over there. Tama Bali or whoever, Houston, whoever's over there is going to take a beating by
Calvin
Villanueva.
Beachum, I think, made a bit of a mistake in the training camp because
Wally Pipp.
when he was offered a contract,
Wally Pipp.
he chose not to. Now he's not signed past the end of the season. Now he has a season-ending injury that could take him into next year. The contract that was on the table for him may not be available.
Just
till
another
next
chubby
year.
guy on his way back to SMU.
Well, Smoking Jim said that before many times, and he has played above expectations. I wish the young man well, but the odds are against him for the simple fact that he'll up so he can play next year. He may not be ready for camp. And
But
if you're not under contract, that hurts too.
Once again, he'll end up on our roster, at a cap friendly price for us. Unfortunately, his big contract may or may not happen. But that's the chance you take when you roll the dice. Some guys cash in and some guys
Cash
not so
out.
much.
And some don't get any cash.
That's why I don't roll the dice.
You just gambled and lost the house.
Just
For the
heavy
record, Smoking Jim lost at least 2 houses on
man,
this.
I took a
The
big-
over and under, he got crushed. Plus on the win.
I'm glad I'm at a police department, so I feel safe here.
For now.
I wondered why Jim came in flying an Italian flag off of his truck, and he's trying to get into good graces of Macaroni Tony. He's trying to get into good
And
graces
now
of
that
Macaroni
the
Tony.
Villanueva has signed, has made the field out. You'll be seeing Smoking Jim be wearing the American flag on Sundays.
That's it, man. Army
Shout
Ranger.
out to the armed forces.
Devin got another Army Ranger. That's my
Unbelievable.
hero.
Real fast, since we've pretty much covered it all, but who do you guys like in the World Series before I get the Steeler predictions for against the Chiefs?
Well, I think it's going to end up being the Royals and the Mets, and I like Kansas City to win it all.
Levine.
I'm looking at the Royals and the Mets also, and I'm looking at the Mets. The amazing Mets.
Smoking Jim, we'll give you.
Texas and the Cubs.
Texas in the
They already got eliminated. They already got eliminated, Jim.
Now to Sunday, Steelers and Chiefs at Kansas City. Landry Jones to get his first NFL start.
and just to
Our
speak
new
to the,
savior, Landry, wins the game. More touchdown passes.
the Cubs and
no
the Mets.
problem.
The Mets have already beat the best 2 pitchers on the Cubs. They're going against Kyle Kendrick tonight, and they've got the Mets' best pitcher, Jacob deGrom, who they say is the Madison Bumgarner of 2015.
And he got nice long hair.
Yeah, well, the hair, he's got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball that people have trouble catching up to. So he's
Definitely.
quite a
That-
stud.
That's the baseball smoking, Jim. Sorry
Gotta
you
win
missed that.
forward.
Sorry you
Gotta
lost
win
again.
forward.
Can I get a score
In the
on
World Series.
Can I get
you
a
do.
score for the Steelers on Sunday?
I never like to give the scores because I don't bet. I just talk about the W. It doesn't matter to me, like I said last time, just so they win by 1.
I've been getting so close. So.
But hey, that's why you're young and
Okay,
you like
I'll
to gamble
I'll go
too.
out on a limb. I'll say Steelers 24-10.
24-10. I'm going 21-7. Pittsburgh wins
Wow.
in KC.
Well, don't be
Continue.
surprised. This be the first game that a defensive and a coach was able to game plan against Landry Jones, so it may be a little bit different this week. Just
Well,
a little tip. There's a
Landry
little tip
never
in that.
impressed me.
Cowbell.
Hey, we're
Ride the
just
bell.
about out of here.
Chief, keep the faith, brother.
Thanks for watching our show. We appreciate it. Thanks to Dave Cable for letting us do this each week. It's over 4 years now. Appreciate Devin Shea in there. Rose is helping out. She's learning where she can take over for Devin. And we got Jack in here. He's ready to go. It's a little warm in here. But stay strong. Wait, stay Joey strong.